Now, Steve, you might hear some
Okay.
strange sounds. We thought it would make it more lifelike to be in the lobby.
This works. Okay, we're live, and I'm gonna go ahead and that sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start the intro here. So wherever wherever I am, you can tell it's a Tuesday. Okay, here we go. And hello, everybody. I'm Steve Sande from Apple World Today. And with me tonight are not just one person, but two. We have, and live from the Jamf Nation conference in Minneapolis, Minnesota, are Marty Edwards. Say hi, Marty. Hi, Marty.
Good evening, everyone.
And Ruby Edwards. How are you doing, Ruby?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Hey, and thank you for that. You actually got a byline on Apple World today. So well done. Well done. Yeah, I can tell you're a teacher.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, on our church bulletin each week, I have her to proof it. And she actually grades it. Sometimes she'll say A- and B+ one day. I had to rewrite.
Well, if we ever are successful enough to actually need a full-time editor, I think I know who it's going to be.
Well, she actually uses a red pen on my writings.
Ooh.
So, but, I read her article. She wanted me to read over it before she submitted it. And I told her, I said, Ruby, that's a good article. I said, you need to write more articles for Apple World Today. And so it flowed really well. She's a good writer.
Awesome. Well, and, good start there. We're going to give you a double thumbs up today. Well, I thought I'd hand it over to the two of you. And if you can, I can tell you're in looks like a hotel lobby there.
We are.
Is that a fireplace?
It is. I don't know if I can. Now, let me turn the camera around. We are here in the lobby. There's Ruby across the lobby from me there a little bit. And we are in the hotel lobby of the Hyatt Regency, Minneapolis. It's downtown. So welcome to all of our viewers on our live stream tonight. And we're here covering the Jamf Nation conference, the users. And so, yeah, that is a fireplace behind me. Let me get my camera turned back around. Sort of chilly here in Minneapolis tonight. We were outside walking around a few minutes and we saw a nice table outside. And she said, do you want to sit down and have a discussion? I told her, I said, I have nothing to say. I went right in. And so, but that is, I don't know if I can read, the camera might not pick up, but you can tell it's a fire. So very pleasant here indeed. So we are here. We've had great sessions. I've never really been anything like this tech-wise. I know Ruby hasn't, but we got here last night. They had a mixer, free food and everything for us and meeting people. And then it started we had breakfast this morning provided. Then we started out with a keynote. And I've learned volumes, and I know Ruby has. And we went some separate sessions. And I guess for our viewers, basically what Jamf is, it's the premier, I guess, Apple support for businesses and enterprise. They deploy Apple devices only. And so you can remotely manage them. They write software that will let you, remotely or manage Apple devices in a institution, school, enterprise, business, erase them, add apps, remove apps, whatever you need to do. And so they really just support Apple products only in businesses and the such like in school. So we've had a great time. So Ruby, what'd you think of it? Or I was going to bounce it off her.
I really enjoyed the sessions. I've learned a lot because I started out with zero knowledge of what Jamf was. Got some great information on uses of Jamf in education as far as the deployment from an IT vantage point. And I could totally relate because I know at our school, if it's gotten to the point if computers go down, you're in trouble. So that is encouraging. And we actually sat with a person last night at the mixer that is an IT specialist in the school system and learned a lot from him, just the conversation we had with him. So I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, coming from a educational background, I can imagine that a tool like this, especially when you get some of these school systems that are saying we're going to have one iPad per student, and they're doing these mass deployments. This probably looks pretty impressive when you take a look at being able to handle thousands of students if you need to. So
some of the schools that use this, they have one-on-one for the students.
Wow.
Was really impressed with a program called eSpark. Just the one-on-one for the students and individualized for each student. And a lot of gains in, letter grades, up by 2 letter grades, 10 points on standardized testing, things like that.
Wow.
The proof is there that it helps. So I'm anxious to take this back to where we live and maybe say, this is something maybe we should look into.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep, Steve, should I be sideways? I believe that would help. Which looks better? This is landscape.
Go sideways. Yeah, go
Ruby,
go
turn your
sideways.
phone sideways. So. Oh, there I
There
think
you
that looks
are.
better. Yeah, that looks better. She's out in the woods, by the way. You can tell by the cut logs.
She's been cutting trees. How long is this conference? Is a couple of days or?
It goes through Thursday. Our flight's set to leave out Thursday at 3, so we'll have to leave a little early. But there's so many sessions, I can't cover them all. And I wish I could, but they're streamed live and they're being recorded so we can go back and view. And they've got a couple sessions. They're going to have about. If you see me looking over, she's just sitting across the room, and so. Whoops! I dropped my phone nearly. There she is, actually sitting over there, and so we did that. So we wouldn't have feedback.
Good.
And we were having some. So, Ruby. Well, the other camera. So we're on the. I was telling her if you want to hit your camera, Ruby. So you tap the screen and you can swap the camera around. So there's my camera view.
Oh, I see.
So. I had installed Zoom. So that's her view.
Oh, there he's hiding.
Yeah, across the room there. So, but they've got a couple sessions. One's using Apple TV. And Steve, I drove to the Apple store last Wednesday morning. Guess what I bought?
You didn't get an Apple TV after you were, unhappy with it earlier.
But
cool.
I have forgiven it. And before I forget everything, hey, she's showing around. Hey, back up and give a good view of the fireplace, and our viewers can. This is a great fireplace.
Reporter.
Yeah, but I won't get off Jamf. But I'm gonna tell you something happened I didn't realize to do. I subscribed for a while to. I'm with YouTube TV, and for whatever reason, I cannot watch NFL games on network. Like if it's on NBC, it just says not available in your area. It blacks it out. But if I do it through Apple TV, I can watch them, but not through Chromecast. I have no idea why. So that was worth it there. So, but I did get it. And so, it's still got the same issues, but I've worked around them, and the positives far outweigh the negatives. So anyway, the Ruby's our roving reporter. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can see the, above the fireplace there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they actually have spotlights showing the Jamf logo and other tech logos up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Ruby,
CDW we used to buy a lot of computer equipment from. So,
Ruby, if you feel so inclined, you ought to walk down the hall and show him the entrance to the ballroom and all the Jamf signs, and she might tour while I talk. You know, we may have to do this regular. The woman on the street reporter.
She can go out and chase your cats around.
Yeah. We have our Jamf badges. So
I'm going to scan that there, and I'll get in tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it has given us, just leave your purse here. It doesn't look good, but I'll hold on to it. And so, but I want to tell you what the biggest thing for me today, and y'all can watch as she walks around a little bit. We had a media luncheon. I didn't realize how closed in it was. There was only like 30 people there, and a lot of them were employees. There's only a handful of media. But there, and I got to talk to one of Microsoft's vice presidents was here. And, you know, that's pretty high. I commented to him, I said, I guess you've met Bill Gates. And he said, oh, I've eaten at his house many times. So he's really a higher up, you know. And there were 2 Apple employees here. They did not wear badges, but it's sort of, you know, they had a little tag that did say Apple on the table. And I got to talk with them. And I asked, I said, can I take your picture? He said, yes. He said, but you're not going to post it anywhere, are you, on Twitter? I said, no, I won't post it anywhere. So they're sort of here incognito, but they have actual Apple officials from Cupertino, Microsoft vice president, and got to really meet some interesting folks. And the CEO and founder of that eSpark, the educational thing. And so we've had a good time. Well, so there she is walking down the hall. So.
Yeah, you know, the conferences like this, I think, have gotten even more important since Macworld iWorld was permanently canceled a few years back, because that used to be one of the places that you would get together with companies like Jamf. You know, you would talk to some of these folks and have special sessions somewhere. But it was really, you know, kind of a shock when Macworld iWorld closed up. And so now you've got, I think, for the social end of it, you, of course, have MacStock that's in the Chicago area every year. And then when it comes to deployment, I think this is probably the largest conference that's held. There are also other, you know, some other conferences that we get invited to, but until we make more money at, you know, Apple World today, I'm not sure it's a good thing for me to, you know, run off to a lot of these. But we get invited to MacTech, and MacTech is also one of the big. You know, they have that in Los Angeles usually in the fall, and I think that's coming up here pretty quickly. So, you know, it's like those 3 main conferences, if you will, really seem to be taking over for what used to be that one big, massive craziness out in San Francisco. So, how's the weather there, by the way? I was going to ask you.
It's a little on the chilly side. This fireplace feels good. So I hope you're enjoying her tour. We thought, well, this will give something a little different. While I talk, she can show around a little bit.
Well, I'm impressed with the hotel.
Yeah, that's the lobby where Ruby turned to the left, and that's the doors to the grand ballroom where the keynotes were. It's probably locked up, but it was huge. But they treat us like royalty. They had seats reserved for media, and they'd email me and said, we have seats reserved for you up front. And it was standing room only. They had to use an overflow room for a broadcast.
Wow.
For people to view.
Well, I was going to ask you too, how many people are attending in total?
Well, you read my mind. I know that's a short read, but there's 1,500 attending here.
Wow.
And so
that's just the attendees. That's not counting the Jamf.
Yeah. I would say, there's so many vendors and other people. And this has nothing to do with tech. But, okay. There's the ballroom. Okay. That's the main keynote hall. They have big screens all across. It's huge. And Ruby, I don't know if you can walk down and see, but they have professional grade cameras and sound system. And so the broadcast is live on, well, they stream it. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but they do stream it, and it is recorded in professional grade cameras and panning. So it's a really big operation they've got going.
I was going to say probably better production values than AWT TV.
Well, I would never go that far, but it was neat because up on the stage, the keynote guy, they had big screens where you could see him, and then what they were showing, a couple of Macs up there to show. Okay, I think she's going upstairs. There's some Jamf stuff up there, and this has nothing to do with tech, but they have food around all day long for you to eat and drink, and it's just nonstop. And we're going to be so bloated and foundered with food by the time we get back, but it's nonstop all day. But they're taking care of everybody. It's a lot of fun, and we really learning a lot.
I was going to say, I don't know if they still do it at back in the days. And this was in the late 80s, early 1990s, but I used to go to the Worldwide Developer Conference quite often. And that was famous for having lots of things to keep you awake. And it wasn't because the sessions were boring. It was because usually people were coding at night or partying or doing both. And it was bad. You'd get there first thing in the morning and they had caffeine drinks. They had lots of coffee. They had candy. They had fruit. They had all those things. And that was always, it was the worst eating you would ever have because,
they've had
lots of sugar.
And Dr. Pepper everywhere, tables of candy. Ruby, I don't know if you can find it, but of course you see all the Jamf signs and sponsors around.
Oh, the logo is for the 8th. It's actually an 8 if you look at it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and I see Backblaze is one of their sponsors.
It is.
Love Backblaze, and that's just coming from me, not as a sponsorship or anything like that, but I've used Backblaze for years. Great way to back up a lot of machines.
And one place where they've had some of their logos and sponsors, they actually had wallpapered part of the wall. I thought it was a sign really close, but it was wallpaper. And so they have really pulled out all stops. I think she's on the 2nd level now. And it's just, and you see, when they have coffee out all day long, they have actual glass cups and glass glasses. They just sit around all day for you to partake and so
you can drink your weight in coffee.
I tell you what, I asked for some coffee, and I like strong coffee, but boy, I tell you what, it had a kick, but I got used to it quickly, so it was good. So there's so much going on here. It's fun. If I have an opportunity to do this again, I will. But I tell you what, I'm not much on flying. I don't fly much. I haven't flown in 17 years. Everywhere I've gone, I hadn't flown since 2000. Yesterday, the pilot told us, he said, it's going to be a bumpy flight. He said, there's turbulence up ahead. And we hit some turbulence so hard, a couple of times it felt almost like a slight free fall for a second or two. I heard people behind me, and they were obviously experienced flyers from comments. They said, this is scary. And they commented, they said, this is not normal. The pilot would not let us unbuckle the entire flight, and they could not serve any kind of, colas to you or anything. It was too dangerous, they said, to bring it out. And that's how much turbulence we had. I told Ruby, I said, when we get to Minneapolis, I want you to fly back to Louisville, get the car. Just come back and get me. I'll, do that. I said, I'm not going back, but it was pretty rough. So, you asked about the weather there, Ruby. You could step out the front doors and let Steve know. It is chilly here.
No. We don't want her to freeze there.
I'm just kidding. Of course. A while ago, she wanted to go outside and walk around. It's not all that cold, probably maybe 45, but there's such a wind.
I was going to ask, are those signs from the previous?
It appears to be T-shirts that are possibly stretched over a canvas, maybe.
Cool. That is really kind of a cool way to decorate that thing with all those. Oh, I like that one. It looks like Minneapolis in the winter.
I don't know if you could read it. It says, "We code all winter."
Awesome.
And no, Ruby, I don't want you to go outside. I would definitely not. It's too cold.
This is this year's T-shirt in purple.
Nice.
And they gave us, we each got a T-shirt, and she said, "Do you want a backpack?" Gave us each a really quality backpack too. So
nice.
A lot of freebies.
You can do now you're going to have to go hiking.
Yeah.
Go hiking with the backpack there. Well, in terms of some of the sessions that they've got planned, and the sessions that you had today and some of the sessions that are coming up, what kind of things are they talking about, and what are some of the applications in which people are using the Jamf software to deploy, apps and keep track of how many different devices they've got out there?
Well, we were pretty lucky last night. We were eating at a table. This was their mixer, and there were 2 seats. I could tell a guy was looking for a place to sit down. So, would you like to sit here? And he said, okay. And we got to talking, and he was one of the speakers. And so we got to talk with him. And so what they're really using it for is in education. They have about 13,000 deployments now. And we heard through the grapevine, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, that Jamf is what Apple stores use to manage their devices. Even Apple uses it. And so
I was going to say, I could believe it too. Beard massages.
It came, we need this roving lady reporter more often, don't we, for things?
Oh, I tell you, this would have been great back in the Macworld days, but we didn't have anything like this. You really couldn't. Live streaming was kind of the realm of the big pros with a lot of money. So,
I'm down here. I don't know if you can see or not. I'll stand up.
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah,
in front of that toasty fireplace.
Ruby,
nice. I think you need to go down there and get warmed up. You've been walking a lot.
I'm very impressed by the logs. It's like they've got all these logs stored up for winter along the sides.
That is, it's so strange. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I used to spend a lot of time in Minneapolis when I was working for IBM. And unfortunately, I never got to stay in that hotel, but that place looks great.
It is. It's really nice. Well, I'll tell you, the room they put us in, it's really 3 rooms, a bathroom. It's got 2 rooms, 2 couches, 2 televisions. It's 2 people, so they've gone all out. But back to your question about the applications of it, I think that the bottom line, and Jamf is fairly new to me, but if I understand it correctly, if your institution, just say your school wants an iPad for every student, they from a server, and it can be a Mac or it can be Windows or Linux, they can say, this person, we can lock down their computer or we can force them to reinstall. She's showing you some of the sessions are closed. The hands-on sessions are closed.
First year for hands-on sessions, and it's going to be hard to get in any.
Wow.
You can see all the closed sessions there. But they can remotely manage Macs is what they do, in a nutshell. But it's really pretty neat because they pull up a control panel and it lists everybody's system in the organization and shows what software they're running, what versions they're on. You can force them to upgrade. It's just remote management for anything Mac except the watch. They said, they don't do that. But
they do
impressed.
Apple TV, correct?
Yes, they do. We're attending, there's 2 Apple TV sessions at the same time. One is used in education. She's going to that. And one is using Apple TV for emergency alerts on campus. I have no idea what it means, but I'm going to it. And there's another Apple TV session. Before I came, I saw the session. I told her that's why I had to get another Apple TV again. And so I had to be prepared.
Well, if you see anybody from or talk to anybody from Arapahoe Community College in Littleton, Colorado, oh, she is going outside.
Well, she is. She's the truth.
But that would be, you know, an absolutely interesting thing, because I know
Ruby, tilt up and show him the skyline real quick before you get back in. I have listened for people. Yeah, tilt up and show the buildings. I have been watching for people from Arapahoe College, thinking about you. But I haven't run into anyone yet.
Yeah, well, I know they've got Apple TVs in just about every one of the classrooms. And I don't know if they're using Jamf to actually do the you know, deployment or you know, set things up there, but they should. They really have
Well,
to.
I agree. And Ruby, when you get in, you ought to show him the view out the back of the hotel. Some very nice buildings on the skyline. So, but this has been a great experience for us. And I've already received an email from their PR firm how much they like the articles on Apple, the coverage on Apple World today.
Good, cool. Well, and I tell you, well, I was just going to say about Minneapolis, I haven't been there in 10 years now. The last time I was there was, yeah, yeah, I feel like I'm there. That is too cool. I love this. You know, like I said, I wish we had been able to do this back in the Macworld Expo days, because that would have been a lot of fun. We did some live TV, but we did live from a booth. We didn't have roving reporters back when I was doing stuff for TUA.
Oh, yeah, that's a great view, Ruby. You can really get an idea of our situation here. It's very vibrant downtown and very nice, you know, very beautiful. But I'm really impressed with what Jamf is offering software-wise. Do not quote me on this, and I hope no one will check, but I think if your organization uses less than 3 seats, the software is free. You know, really to try.
I think I remember that.
And so they have 13,000 paid customers, and I think a couple more thousand are using just the free version.
Let's see here, Jamf now, and let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at their website. That's jamf.com, and let's see here. I was going to see if they talk about that, but I keep thinking you are correct. It's like a free license for, I mean, if you've got like 3 users or something like that, if you just wanted to do a home,
right,
and make sure that everybody's got the same software, that they're running the same version of the operating system. It's a great way to do that. And it's funny because, you know, back in the day, they used to do this with Apple servers, and you would do a lot of deployment from Apple servers. And this is a much more brilliant way of doing it. It really makes a lot more sense.
You showed him from a distance, but now you can see even more clearly all the logos that they're showing up there. But that gives me something to think about. With us having all Macs in the house, it might be fun to experiment with it as management software.
Yeah,
you know, just to do. So totally un-Jamf related, but I want to ask you before I get. Did you surprise your wife yet with that watch?
Yes, I did, and thanks for bringing that up. In fact, what it was is the day before her birthday, which was last Friday. So on Thursday, I actually went ahead and I ordered it, you know, online using the Apple Store app. And then when I got the message from them that it was available, I went down to the Aspen Grove Apple Store, which is kind of our closest store there. Picked it up and brought it home, and it was so funny because on Friday morning, Barb, she slept in a little bit. It was her birthday. She wasn't at work that day, and she started talking to me at one point, and she goes, you know, I really think maybe I want one of those Apple Watches, because you know, her company that she's working for right now, that she's about to retire from, they gave her one of these little, I'm trying to think of what they call them, but it's almost like a Fitbit, but it's mainly just used to track the number of steps you take. Right. And they have a program through, it's one of the Virgin companies, and I can't think of the name of it, Virgin Fitness or something, or Virgin Health. But anyway, what they do is they actually pay employees if they're active, if they, you know, get up and move around and do certain things. And since she's retiring, she's not going to have that anymore. So she said, you know, I'd really like one of those. And I'm sitting over here just dying laughing because sitting in front of me on the desk was her Apple Watch. So what I ended up doing is, you know, I had put a nice bow on top of it, and I, you know, went downstairs and put it where she was going to eat breakfast. And she was really surprised. So she's pretty happy with it so far.
I imagine so. So has she getting a lot of use out of it, acclimating to it, I'm sure?
Yeah, she keeps asking certain questions, and what I did is I went ahead and actually downloaded the Apple Watch user manual from the Apple site, and I said, read the manual, which is mean of me, but I occasionally will show her, you know, certain things to do. Like this morning, she was asking about, you know, well, I just see the rings. How do I actually find out how many steps I took or all the rest of that? So I talked about, you know, swiping up on the activity app so you can actually, you know, see how many steps you took, how many calories you burned, you know, all the rest of that good stuff. So,
well, she's an engineer by trade. She's not going to have any trouble.
I hope so. Well, I tell you, when she has issues with an application, she really has issues. And it's Pippin, he's talking to us. But she had this continuing issue with Photos, the Photos app. And she didn't have it with the old iPhotos app, but Photos just had problems. And I kept telling her, I said, I hate to say this, but, you know, block out like 2 or 3 hours on a weekend and call Apple and talk to them. And I'm sure, you know, they want to hear about this. And sure enough, they escalated it to actual developers in the Photos group who wanted to see exactly what was happening. So I'm sure that, you know, probably in an upcoming version of Photos, we're going to see this one problem that she's had for the last 2.5 years is finally going to be gone. But she spent close to 2 hours on the phone with them. And they kept escalating it. You know, we're going to go up to this person. Okay, now we're going to talk to this guy. Nothing like Apple support. I mean, really nothing like Apple support.
Well, I only probably had maybe 2 minutes, 3 at max, to talk with these 2 Apple employees. And I sort of gathered, and Ruby did too, one of them was probably pretty high up. You know, he just, I don't know, the demeanor, the dress, and the various things. You could tell he was the leader of the 2, and definitely didn't want me to post his photo. And so, of course, I definitely will respect that, won't even call his name. It was not a name I'd heard of, so, I mean, he's not like a senior vice president or something. But I was telling him about her Apple Watch experience, that it was replaced and with an upgraded model, even brand new, and he was very pleased. He said, I'm really glad to hear, you know, that. So, but I think that's been one of the best things for me, is actually getting to meet some Apple employees, not at the Genius Bar, you know, or salespeople, you know, people in Cupertino, and a Microsoft vice president. And I mean, his name's been published all around. Brad Anderson is his name.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, I told Ruby that he seemed familiar to me. He looks and the name seems familiar. And so, but he's with Microsoft. But it's really how they're using Jamf and Apple or Microsoft Active Directory working together to manage systems. And so,
well, and it was funny because I just went out here, and it's talking about Brad Anderson I just looked it up, you know, Googled him here. And one of the things they brought up was vice president salaries at Microsoft can range from, and this kind of range of salaries. So that was pretty funny. That's not what I was looking for, but There he is. There's a complete article about him that maybe I'll have to put into the show notes when we actually get there. But he's the corporate vice president in the Cloud and Enterprise Group, or at least he was at one point.
Has he got a picture of him?
Yeah, kind of he's got hair like mine.
A little less now. And
a little less.
But I tell you what, he had on a short sleeve shirt. He's got arms of a bodybuilder. Even the keynote speaker, after Brad got down, said something about it's a little funny to have a Microsoft guy among all the Apple folks. And he said, but as you can see, he can take care of himself.
Yeah.
So, he wouldn't mind. I mean, it's been well published that he's here speaking. But the two Apple guys, I will say, are most incognito. They didn't even have on badges. I just got lucky, and they didn't really want anything known about them. So that, I guess, is embargoed.
Well, this is a really incredible article about him. It's on a Microsoft site, on the news site. One of the funny things about it, and you may have to bring it up to him, but says, Boy Scouts, he was a Boy Scout and became an Eagle Scout. It says, in all, a Scout needs 21 merit badges to become an Eagle. The teenage Anderson earned 70.
Wow. Overachiever. Well, I will see him around. A while ago, the CEO of Jamf just walked through. If I catch him again, I'll ask him if he'll say howdy to our audience. But he was walking down toward a Starbucks here.
Well, I used to enjoy the Jamf folks used to, when we had a Apple Consultants Network group here in Denver that I ran, we actually had them come out and give a talk one time. And that was I'd say probably the first time I really became familiar with their software and just how powerful it was. Up until that time, like I said, there were so many of us that were, building, you'd set up a Mac server and you would do certain things to actually deploy software images off of those. And it was a real pain. And they kind of came in and just made it easy, made it cloud-based, made it really affordable for pretty much any size corporation. So they do good work.
Well, the guy that we ate with last night that spoke, he said he had only bought a $50 product from them early on, and they were willing to spend a Saturday and a lot of nights working on an issue with him to get it working,
Wow.
And so... But now, of course, he's an IT director for a school system. They had him to speak here. And before I forget, Ruby asked me last week if we heard anything from Pip, and I said, we did not. But tonight we do.
Well, it was funny because just before we started the show, our other cat, who normally is really quiet, she was speaking up. And she was talking and getting all excited. Now she's laying right next to me over here. I just looked, and she's over on her favorite little throw rug, being cute, but I think she was kind of telling Pippin that the show was about to start. He was going to have to make some noise. Gotta love those animals.
Well, of course, we've pretty well had Jamf news, but is there anything, I won't say I've lost out a little bit, but anything going on in the Apple world, some new betas or anything?
Well, probably the biggest news for both Dennis and myself was that, we were talking about it online today. Yesterday afternoon, Apple opened up for people who were in the iPhone upgrade program, they actually went ahead and opened up the ability to pre-qualify. Basically, when you do that, you're getting a one or 2 year loan or something like that. But you get a loan for a period of time, and then they need to know that you've got an iPhone that you're going to be turning in. And so I went ahead and the minute I heard about this, I got in, and it literally probably took me 3 minutes to do the pre-qualification. And now it just says, okay, well, at 12:01 a.m. on Friday the 27th, be sure to actually go ahead and do your finish your order, and we'll see if you get one. So anyway, Dennis has been on Verizon's upgrade program, and he wants to switch over to the Apple program, and things didn't go as easily for him. So what we're going to talk about on, we're actually going to do a joint article that'll come out on Friday, where we'll talk about our experiences with that. But I got to admit, you know, for those of us who write about Apple products, and you know, you pretty much want to make sure that you've got the latest and greatest Apple technology every year. I think that iPhone upgrade program is just a wonderful idea. I wish they'd do it with other things too, like, you know, have the iPad upgrade program.
Well, Ruby and I are both on the upgrade with our regional carrier, Bluegrass Cellular, and we both are eligible as of this week. But I want to wait for the iPhone 10, you know, if possible. So, oh, and I had to send, and I don't know if I'm sure he wouldn't mind it being published, but we had our picture taken with Brad Anderson. I asked him, I said, would you mind had our picture taken with you? So he got between us, and it was just a lot of fun. I wanted to mention that before I forgot it. So,
well, definitely ask him about the 70 merit badges.
If I run into him,
good.
I will do it. If you see, I keep looking away. I'm making sure. Well, the CEO, if he walks through again, I'm going to holler at him real quick for a quick shout out to our viewers. And if I were to see Brad walk through, but he's probably secured inside tonight or somewhere, I would say.
Yeah, or meeting with Microsoft employees, because they've got them everywhere. So,
yeah, he may well be. I'd say he's the highest ranking official here. You know, speaking of that, of course, our local Apple store is Louisville, Kentucky, about 71 miles away. Just a small in the mall store. And I thought pretty much off the radar. We watched a YouTube video on how Apple gets their iPhones ready for launch day. And they show, what's the lady's name who's senior vice president of all the stores? Andrea, I'm not sure of her last name.
Angela Ahrens. Yeah.
And they showed her in the Louisville store. And she was there visiting. But the reason, then they showed her, you know, UPS Air is based in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's where anything you buy, it comes to Louisville, Kentucky. And she had gone there to oversee and see the shipments coming in. And so she had made an appearance in the mall store that we always go to there. So, but didn't run into her.
That is cool. You know, it's so funny because you get a company, you know, that's the size of Apple, or, you know, like you said, when you get companies the size of Microsoft as well. You know, it's rare to see some of the executives kind of in the wild.
Yeah,
it's a really nice thing when you can.
Ruby, we hadn't meant to block you out. Ruby is a very, very quiet person, so you know, feel free. But Ruby, I thought your tour of the hotel and the Jamf signs and all was fascinating. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. You know, like I said, if they ever open up Macworld iWorld again, I know who our roving floor person is going to be.
So, but I think she's had a good time. After the talk this morning, she said, I'm really impressed. And I knew then that it hit her, you know. And a lot of it, you ask about the sessions, there's a lot of general things, but there's some things I'm not going to report to our readers because I don't think it'd be of general interest. There's some very detailed, geeky things about, you know, deploying the software that, you know, it won't be over the heads of our readers, but we're more to report general news in a manual on how to, you know. So.
Yeah, and there are sites, you know, like I think about Mac Tech and some of the other, I guess you could say they're more deployment-oriented sites. And I have a cat who, don't do that. Oh, I see what it was. There was a tiny piece of dust on this back here, and I think that was Mary. Yeah, Mary decided that she needed to check it out there. I was just waiting for I saw this paw come up and grab onto the bottom of this backdrop, and I kept thinking, oh, great. Boom. It's going to come down on me. And now she's tearing on the back of the... Please stop it. Stop it. Cats.
You wouldn't know any of the names, but other people I got to see. I read a lot of, tech and blogging sites like 9 to 5 Mac and Apple Insider. And I saw some of their writers at lunch today and got to talk with them that I read a lot. So it was really fun just being, in the midst and talking and just doing.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the best things about going to conferences like this too, because you do get to meet, the other folks in the industry. You get to, it helps kind of build up that rapport with other people. So, if you ever need to ask them a question or something like that, you're not a complete stranger to them. They look and they go, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah,
I remember that lady.
You were
We're
the
going to
guy
have her do our roaming camera work."
Yeah, exactly. So, but if the opportunity comes up for us to cover this show again or another one, I think it's something we'd probably do because Ruby, as all of our, viewers know or some, she retired from 34 years of teaching June the 1st. And so we're able to be free to go now and do some things like this.
Yeah, and congratulations, Ruby. My wife is like 3 weeks away from retiring, so she's really happy.
I'm sure she's really excited. It's been
bouncing.
Tell her it'll be busier than she thinks. It's been really busy.
Yeah, she's been nonstop since retiring. So,
wow.
But I think, Apple World Today, I hope that our reporting gives them a good name among people. And like I said, their PR person already emailed me, and Dennis and Ruby as well, about how much she appreciated the coverage and the site. Cool. And, it's something I was telling Ruby, even Apple World Today may not have the most readers of some of the tech sites right now. But even so, whenever you write something, it's obviously archived and Google will find it. And so it always shows up. And, it's possible to be seen. My brother was telling me he was looking up some little tech issue he was having on his iPhone and tips on something. He found an article that answered his question. It was written by Marty Edwards, his brother. He saw after him. And so just a chance thing, So I think the quality dropped a little bit after he knew that. He didn't think no. I don't think so, but he just thought that was pretty neat that he was looking up a how-to and it was an article I'd written. So,
oh, that's classic. Well, it's so funny too, because sometimes I'll hear from people who, I haven't talked to them in years or something like that, and they do the same type of thing. They'll be out looking up, how do you do this with a Mac, or, how's this piece of software or this little goodie here? And they'll be out and they'll search around and they go, "Oh, that guy, I used to work with him."
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next thing I know, they're on Facebook going, "Hey, is that you?"
Yeah.
And so, suddenly you get that connection going again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Before I forget, how's the noise levels been in here? We debated, we started to do the broadcast just from our hotel room. I thought that's going to be a little sterile and just plain, I thought I wanted to have a little action, a little crowd noise. There's some music playing, so I hope it hadn't been too interfering.
Oddly enough, I haven't heard any of the background noise. At one point, I heard some other talking, but it was so quiet I couldn't hear what they were saying. So
that makes it seem real. We're sort of like reporters on the street,
Yeah. Yeah, you want one of those mics where you're able to, pick up the crowd noises, and of course that can be dangerous too. But I always like my good friend Chuck Joyner. Chuck is really an amazing podcaster, and he's got one of those handheld mics that he'll go out and he does the interviews. He's got the little sign on there. It says Mac Voices, and he's talking to him. He's truly the consummate pro of when it comes to tech podcasting. So we can all learn from him. He's very good.
Yeah, well, this is sort of neat. We haven't just done of course, we've never done a 3-way with me and her and, doing it remotely. I wonder how it'd work out. But back to what we use, this Zoom app is actually quite impressive with what we can do.
Yeah, and considering that you two are both using LTE and not Wi-Fi, correct?
We are. Their LTE, Jamf has it set up, and I'm getting about, you know, sometimes anywhere 40 to 70 down and 40 to 70 meg up. But a while ago I tried it, it was 0.1 and 0.2. I told her, I said, I don't think we're going to have enough bandwidth, you know, to do it. And I didn't. I couldn't connect, so I had to go to LTE. But I checked their LTE speeds earlier, and I was getting 70 meg up and down here downtown. So it's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, it was blazing. Speaking of blazing behind us, I thought the fireplace would make a nice backdrop. It's probably, I'm a little washed out in it probably. You know?
Hey, I was going to do just one quickie demo today, and it was really funny because, you know, I'm one of those people that if I can figure out a way to make a buck, I usually will try to do it. And I found an app from, of all companies, Google. And the name of this app is Rewards, Google Rewards. And I'm going to try to see if I can do a share here. But
it's so odd. I just read about it last week.
Yeah, and it is absolutely amazing. So far, I've almost made $4 in about a week.
Oh, wow.
So I could make maybe $200 a year doing this. But what they do is they're very, very short and to the point surveys. And for instance, I've had surveys on, you know, what Pippin's talking again, but surveys on everything from, you know, certain software. Today was about electric cars, you know, different things like that. And like I said, I'm going to see if I can share this here because it's kind of interesting.
Well, I wanted to mention that I have just learned of that app myself a few days ago. That's so odd. But I haven't loaded it yet.
Let's see. There we are. There's the old iPhone. But I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. And as you can tell right now, it says Google Opinion Rewards, no survey at this time. So far, I've been paid $2.02, and I'm 12 cents away from my next $2 payout. I think I'm going to change that so maybe they can, you know, it'll stack up a little bit more. But it's really cool because once or twice a day, I'll actually see a new survey that will come in. And here you can see the history. I got paid on the 20th, $2.02. Woo! As far as I'm concerned, this is actually pretty good because I probably spend $1.99 a week on apps in the App Store. Well, now Google's paying me for them, so works out pretty good. So that's the app of the week there. Nothing great, but it is kind of fun. And you just go out, as long as you've got a Google account, you can sign up and make very little money.
Well, you know, I may do that. You're right. Just $2 here and there certainly adds up. And before I forget it, and I know we're running short on time, but have you seen all the news about the Pixel XL, Pixel 2 XL, that it's having all sorts of screen problems?
Yes. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing considering they're marketing it like crazy during the baseball playoffs. And now
they have been. But have you seen how many Apple ads there's been of the portrait mode with that boy and girl and, you know, the watch, the skateboarder? And also, if you'll look behind home plate, Apple Music has been having a banner ad a lot.
Yeah, free for 3 months. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Well, we were watching it tonight, and it said 3 for $3, and you could only see the M. Ruby more or less said free for 3 minutes, but it was nice.
That's great. Yeah, we would hope it'd be a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
You never know.
But I'm hoping if the publisher agrees that we can get maybe Ruby to do a few more reviews or some comments, because she would have a unique take. She doesn't consider herself, I guess, a geek or a deep tech user. She just wants it to work. it'd be good for, I think, for her to give some of her thoughts on things from a different perspective, you know.
You've got a double thumbs up from the publisher, whoever that guy is. I love the idea. And, you know, especially in the educational area, we could definitely use a good voice. We can pay you as much as we pay Marty.
Yeah, we'll be rolling. There goes a writer from 9 to 5 Mac. I know you're familiar with that site.
Oh, yeah.
I see one of their writers going by that I read a lot. I talked to him today. So that's fun, you know, just seeing the people that you read about or read all the time, their articles and stuff. So it's been a really good experience for us. But next Tuesday night, I'll be back in my regular studio with a yellow light behind me instead of a fireplace. But the fireplace, let me switch my camera real quick here. And might be able to get just, yeah, that's a better picture. It's not washing out in it.
Oh, and that's nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Big, nice gas fireplace. And she'd already showed you up there. And it's just is a really, really nice environment. Very inviting and just it's super nice. The hotel is. Yeah,
it definitely helps when you are comfortable at a conference. I can remember times not having a really good hotel, you know, and having to walk halfway across San Francisco to get to the Macworld iWorld show floor, and that was bad. That was bad stuff. So this is a much better way to do it.
Yeah, well, they've got great amenities. They've been over backwards to make us feel at home. Jamf has, and I do, you know, and even if they hadn't, I'm really impressed with their software and would give them I think my wrapping up article will be, if you've got to deploy a few Macs, you know, go with this company. That is the way to do it.
Yeah. And I have to agree with that. Everything I've ever seen, I've had some discussions with, you know, some of the local school systems that are using it. Good software, really good stuff.
I think my co-writer, well, also known as my wife across the room, would agree. She was really impressed with it and what it can do. And I think, I don't know if I told you or not, but we, I think made us feel really, I would say important, but for Apple World today, there was literally standing room only, but when we got there, they had 10 or so seats at media only, and they were reserved, 2 of them for us. So,
nice.
So we're going to cover, we'll cover the keynote tomorrow and then some other sessions about half a day on Thursday. Then we're heading home, and then we'll have some wrap up articles for Apple World today. So I know we're about out of time. Ruby, do you have anything else?
Well, I've been sitting here watching people go by. That's why I keep turning my head. Some are Jamf employees I've seen walk by. Some are conference attendees. But one of the things I was thinking about from the keynote today is that when Apple did their latest release, their announcements, the CEO was talking about how they look at it and get all excited, but they look at it in a different way. They start imagining all the possibilities and all the things that they need to do and can do with the Apple products coming out. And he was talking about, you know, just all those things he was imagining. And he said never in his wildest dreams did he imagine he would one day pay $1,000 for a phone. He figures he will.
I think he's, you know, definitely saying what a lot of us are thinking. So.
That was a good point, Ruby. I'm glad you brought that up. That was funny.
Well, it's funny too, because, you know, you bring up a really good point there, Ruby. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, I commented earlier, you know, it's like we always have to have the latest and greatest if you're going to write about it. And I'm looking, you know, even with the upgrade program, I'm really kind of looking at it for next year and saying, do I really want to upgrade again? Because, you know, even that monthly cost is going to be surprisingly higher than what it was for
you're right.
This thing. So, yeah. Well, I think we're we're about there for the day, and I'd like to thank both Ruby Edwards and Marty Edwards for joining me tonight from the Jamf Nation conference in Minneapolis. They're going to continue writing. I've got another cat coming over here. Continue writing articles for the next few days. I guess you said through Thursday. And you know, I think this is an absolutely great opportunity for any of our readers who don't know about this fantastic deployment tool to really take a look at what it can offer and why you would want to do this in any type of situation where you may have more than just a handful of devices. I keep trying to talk our church into using this, and they keep saying, no, it's easier for us to do stuff by hand, but everybody uses iPads during the services. So,
well, I can say, yeah, I definitely will give them, you know, on paper and in writing a hearty recommendation. You know, if you're going to manage just a handful of Macs, you know, use Jamf.
Or a bazillion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did give, I don't think this is under embargo anymore, but one thing they mentioned before we close, they was talking about businesses that let you bring your own device now. Probably the business, and it's Ruby's home states from there, that tries to cut costs most. Was that under embargo?
I don't know about yet.
Never mind. She signaled me. It has not gone public yet. They said the employees of this company don't even know about it. Sorry. They told us in the media lunch and said they hadn't even told their employees. I'm so sorry, but that gives our listeners something to look forward to.
Yeah, because we don't know what your home state is either. So that's a good thing. So
I won't tell.
Yeah, I nearly slipped up there. So
I think I might know, but I don't think the viewers would. Because I think he's been mentioning that you've had to drive there quite a few times in the last couple of months.
Well, even if it got out, you know, they did mention it publicly today, but I think we'll save that for another broadcast.
That sounds cool.
Isn't that what a good wife does? Keep you straight.
Somebody's got to. Barb has been doing that for 37 years, whatever it's been now. So.
And she can full time here in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes, indeed. So I think things are going to get a lot busier for me.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for doing the live broadcast. I think this was really a lot of fun, and you know,
it was fun.
We'll have to look at doing for other conferences in the future. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube after either live or after the fact, if you can just give us a thumbs up, the old, you know, you liked it, and consider subscribing, and you can see the show every week. You'll get notified of what's coming up. And for Apple World Today, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. And now we get to, you know, I always love this because I always have to announce it. I always have to share this exciting video here, wherever it is. And it isn't showing up. Oh, no. Let me do it one more time here. Dum, da, dum. And this happens about every week, too. There it is. Here we go. See you later, everybody.